Hello, and welcome. I am Web Weaver, and I'm so glad you have found my channel here today. This is where I do a weekly tarot reading just to give us some guidance for our day ahead. As always, these readings are for entertainment purposes only. And I am using the Slavic Legends Tarot deck, which I received as a gift at Yule, and it has become my go-to. So with that said, every one of the major arcana have a legend behind them. So I have written down the legends. They had a website with the information. I have put it into a little book. So if we pull a major arcana card, I will read the legend to you. Okay. So this reading is going to be for Monday, July 6th, Tuesday, July 7th, Wednesday, July 8th, Thursday, July 9th, Friday, July 10th, Saturday, July 11th, and Sunday, July 12th. So, we will get started here. I hope you've had a lovely week. I do have the window open. I wanted to try to start reading outside, and it's just been wet every Sunday. Seems like we get rain every Sunday after a heat wave this week. So I am sitting by the window with the window open. So if you hear a car go by or something like that, we don't get a lot of traffic, but there is a gentle rain falling. The window's open. I've got some incense going, so just taking advantage of the daylight. All right. What do we need to know for the week ahead? What do we need to know for the week ahead? July 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. What do we need to know? The week ahead. Alright, we're going to stop there. And we have, for Monday, the Page of Swords. So pages to me always are messengers, if you will. I see them as messengers. I always think of, the page being the runner with the news, right? That's just what I think of. And swords is air energy. So this is going to be tied to communication and messages coming forward, but using your mind, being truthful, being honest. Maybe you're the one with the messages, but this is about honest communication. It is swords, so when you see the page there, he is kind of, he's got his foot up on a rail. I'm not sure if he's on a boat or where he is, but he's on guard. He's looking, right? He's standing guard or watching out for conflict. He's ready for whatever new thing may be coming his way, whether it's news or an idea or information, some kind of communication. But, be brave, be just, be truthful, be honest, use your mind, analyze and think about things, whatever comes at you on Monday, news-wise. But while you're on guard, don't be too on guard. Analyze the situation and see if this is something you need to move forward with, whatever news it is that comes your way on Tuesday or on Monday. All right, so Tuesday, we have the High Priestess. All right, so this is a major arcana, which means I'm going to have to pull out the book here. But in the meantime, the High Priestess is not inaction, it is non-action. So it is something going on internally. It is an unconscious awareness, as opposed to swords, which is knowing, right? This isn't outward. This is like intuition. It could have to do with potentialities. I'm looking for her in the book while I'm talking, so if I'm hesitating, it's because of that. This is the maiden aspect of the goddess. You can see in this deck, she is working with herbs. She's got some in her hand. She's got a book in front of her. The herbs are all hanging around her. I'd love to have that space right there. But there's a lot of potential. There's inner knowledge, inner knowing, intuition. It could have to do with moon energy, but for me, she's very much that inner knowing, that gut feeling, right? Things that you can only understand through experience. I can read all about, for example, I just grew garlic this year. I just harvested my garlic. I have never grown garlic before in my life. I read all about it, but until I did it, I didn't understand all of the little nuances to it. I didn't know what it smelled like. Fresh garlic smells very different than like when you cook it. So it's that inner knowledge, the inner wisdom, the intuition. And in the Slavic deck, this is Znakora, also known as Zeptucha or Wise Baba. Znakora is an important figure in Slavic culture, particularly in folk traditions and beliefs. A Znakora is a woman who possesses knowledge and skills related to folk medicine, magic, divination, and healing. They were widely respected in Slavic communities as individuals with the ability to communicate with the spiritual world and possessing knowledge about herbs, magic rituals, and traditions. Znakori, which is the plural, were often associated with the healing of various illnesses and ointments, using natural remedies such as herbs, potions, poultices, or prayers. It was believed that they had the gift of healing and the ability to see the future. Additionally, Znakori also served as advisors and spiritual guides in their communities. People sought their help in various matters such as love, marriage, fertility, protection from evil spirits, or attracting prosperity. In Slavic culture, Znakora were often portrayed as older women with deep knowledge and life experience. They were sometimes regarded as intermediaries between the human world and the spirit realm, being in contact with supernatural beings and ancestral beings and spirits. So unfortunately, due to the diversity of Slavic traditions and beliefs, there's no specific definition or description of a single Znakora or Wise Baba. Their roles and functions may vary depending on the region or community in which they lived, but in general, Znakora constituted an important part of the spiritual and medical life of Slavic communities, imparting their wisdom and helping others. So very much the imagery that you see right there. Okay. So that was Tuesday. Moving right along. We are on Wednesday. Okay, good. I don't have to read from the book again this time. It just takes so much time. I feel like it's making the video go long. All right, so Two of Swords. Again, we have swords, which are knowledge, wonderment, wisdom, communication, anything having to do with air. But in this one, you can see that she's in a tree and she's got the swords crossed in front of her. It's kind of like a "you shall not pass" type of thing. Think about Gandalf crossing his staff with his sword. So this has to do with something is blocked. The heart and the mind are not in agreement. maybe putting up unhealthy boundaries, blocking things that need to get through. It could be avoidance or a stalemate maybe, but something is stopped here. There's some kind of boundary, and it may be too much of a boundary. We may be blocking something that needs to be unblocked. Hail Mercury retrograde. Okay, so Thursday, we have the Five of Swords. Lots of swords this time. My goodness. Okay, so the Five of Swords. Fives tend to be conflict. Fives are conflict. Swords are communication. So we have some kind of discord, some kind of miscommunication. There may be some embarrassment tied into it or trickery. You can see that these two here aren't real happy with whatever has happened. It may be that something we said or some piece of news wasn't accurate, and it has caused some trickery or some embarrassment, some kind of illusion. It's not a loss. It's not a defeat. It is a partial defeat of some sort. A victory tinged with defeat. So if you think of if you're a Hobbit and Lord of the Rings fan, if you think of the movie The Hobbit, where they're talking about the battle where Thorin's grandfather was killed and his father disappeared. When they got to the end of the battle, they had won, but so many of them had died that there was no celebration. So it's that kind of energy, that kind of feeling with that card. All right, so for Friday, we have the Page of Wands. All right, so no swords this time. Wands would be fire. We are looking at a fire energy, and the page being someone that is bringing that energy. So this might be an excited piece of news, whereas over here it's kind of on guard. Okay, this bit of information might be good. This one is very excited, very eager. It's happy news. It might be an invitation or an opportunity for something. It's telling us we need to be confident. We need to be courageous. We need to be enthusiastic, excited, passionate about things. But there may be news coming on Friday that rather than being on guard like we are here, maybe we get a piece of news that's like, oh, there's an opportunity. Maybe this is where it becomes real. I don't know. But this is more excited news, whereas this one is, okay, I've gotten some news. What do I do with this, right? Different energy with this page. This news coming on Friday. All right, Saturday, we have Temperance. That is a major arcana, so I will have to pull that out here. But with Temperance, it is very much what that means. Temperance, balance. It could have to do with balancing your health or self-care, moderation, restraint, tact, the right thing at the right time at the right place. It's kind of where it's the one piece of notes I remember from these cards. I'm looking for it in my book. Hang on. Okay, there it is. So the inspiration for the Temperance card is the Sacred Grove, also known as the Living Grove. In Slavic mythology, the term Sacred Grove refers to a place considered holy and particularly connected to the spirit realm. It was an area where the boundary between the sacred, or holiness, and the profane, or worldliness, was blurred or erased. Sacred groves often consisted of natural spaces where people could establish contact with deities, ancestral spirits, or other supernatural forces. People would come to these places to perform rituals, pray, offer sacrifices, and seek spiritual support, protection, or guidance. It was believed that in the sacred grove, spiritual forces were particularly strong and influenced the human world. It was a place where encounters between humans and gods or spirits took place. Such a place was believed to be accessible to both realms, serving as an intermediary space where the material and spiritual worlds intertwined. It's like that liminal space. Sacred groves also held significant social importance as gathering places for festivities, celebrations of holidays, and rituals. They were locations where communities came together, decisions were made, disputes were resolved, or important moments were celebrated. In Slavic mythology, there are many descriptions and interpretations of sacred groves that varied depending on the region, culture, and time. These places held great significance for Slavic communities, serving as centers of spiritual life and cultural identity. So we're being called, maybe you have a spiritual grove where you go. Maybe you just have an inner temple where you go. Maybe you have something you do that calms you and allows you to care for yourself for a time. A lot of self-care, moderation, all those things. We're being called to that on Saturday. And then next Sunday, we have the Queen of Cups. All right. So mostly swords in this one. This is interesting. All right, we don't need the book for this. The Queen of Cups. So cups are emotion. They are psychic ability. They are the element of water. So any emotions that you can think when it comes to the Queen of Cups, queens tend to be mother-like figures, but it's not always the same type of motherly figure. So like with pentacles and coins, it's more like an earth mother figure. This one is very much one who is, she nurtures and supports emotional things with emotion. She's loving, she's intuitive, she has psychic abilities, she's staring into the goblet there. Very spiritual, very serene. She's surrounded by the cattails there with the water symbolism. But very loving, very intuitive, nurturing your emotions. So on Sunday, it may be that you're being called to be like the Queen of Cups, using your psychic abilities, trusting your intuitive abilities, being that person who supports and nurtures the emotions of those around you. Or it may be that you need to seek a person out like that. Okay. All right, so that is the coming week. We are already into July. I will be back on Sunday, the Queen of Cups Day, for our next reading. I hope you have a lovely week, and I will see you then. Blessed be.